Tim Collins with Coleman Today. I'm with Champ Crocker, a nationally prominent local Coleman attorney. Mr. Crocker, you're going to talk to us about Amendment number 9 coming up on the Tuesday general election ballot. This seems obscure. It's about Pickens County. Well, what have you got in mind here?
Amendment 9 is about Pickens County, but all 67 counties are going to vote on an amendment involving the probate judge of Pickens County.
I'm sorry, that seems at best odd and absurd if I wanted to go down deep into it. Why are we doing that?
Under Alabama law, no one can be elected or appointed as a judicial officer, a judge, who is over the age of 70 years old. That's the law for circuit judges, district judges, probate judges, and appellate judges.
And that's true all over every county in the state?
Yes. You cannot qualify to run if you were over the age of 70. Well, it happens that in Pickens County, there is a probate judge who is apparently doing a pretty good job, who is popular there, but he happens to be 71 years old. And his term comes up for re-election 2 years from now, in 2018. Under Alabama law, he cannot run. He is barred from qualifying for office in 2018.
And this has nothing to do with infirmity or lack thereof?
Just age.
Just age.
Just age.
Okay.
Even if the voters want him, he cannot run again under existing law. He is disqualified from serving. Amendment 9 would raise that age threshold from 70 to 75. Not for everybody, only for the Pickens County probate judge office.
So this amendment we're voting on is not just for Pickens County, it's for one judicial office in Pickens County.
It is for one judicial office in Pickens County. And the entire state, all 67 counties, are going to vote on this because that is how our laws are. Now, there was an attempt to avoid this. There was a local bill introduced in the Senate, and under Alabama law, measures such as this can pass as a local bill if the entire Senate votes unanimously in favor of it, and it would not have to be on the statewide ballot. When this was before the Senate, one senator voted against the legislation. And because there was one vote against it, there was no other recourse except to put it on the ballot for a statewide vote. Now, I don't know how people in Coleman County or Jackson County or Jefferson County feel about voting for Pickens County probate judge, essentially. But that's what's on the ballot as amendment.
So the singular no vote by one senator in the state Senate creates this item on a ballot. That's
more or less.
More or less.
This item being on the ballot was the only way to have it enacted into law because there was.
Well, that seems like an expensive vote because I don't know the exact amount, but to get anything on a ballot statewide is costly in terms of effort and financial resources. I'm sure it's tens of thousands of dollars to get it on the ballot.
I don't know the figures. There are 13 amendments on the ballot this time. This is not the only amendment that deals with a local issue. I think there's another one for
Amendment 7,
County.
Etowah County, and how they're going to be handling some food service employees in Etowah County Sheriff's Office.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be voting on that. So I guess I'm turning attention now. That's what voters are facing. What are the options that voters have in the booth? They've got the ballot. What do they do here?
Well, there's really three options. You can vote yes, you can vote no, or you can do like what I expect many people will do is not vote.
So I can singularly just not mark my ballot for that amendment if I wanted to.
If you want to. I'm not saying anyone should not vote, but those are the three options. When you get your ballot, all of the political offices are on the front, and you have to turn your ballot over to see all these amendments. There were 13 of them. It's a long ballot this year, in terms of amendments. Now, Amendment 9 raises really two questions, if I might
Sure.
get into those.
That's my next question.
I guess one question is, why should the entire state of Alabama be voting on something that affects Pickens County and affects who the people of Pickens County are going to choose as their probate judge? I've heard that question raised. And then I guess another question that is being raised here is, why are we only doing this for one probate judge? We've got 67 counties. Probate judges, there's a probate judge over every county. Why are we only focusing on one? But when you get into the voting booth, going back to your original question, you've either got to vote up, down, or abstain on it. And what's being done here is provided for by Alabama law, and for the people who were in favor of this legislation, it's the only way to have it passed is through a statewide vote under existing Alabama law.
So the cliche, "it is what it is a fact for this election.
It is what it is.
But your two options or questions that are raised seem like they're open to another constitutional amendment in the next election to try to eliminate this. It seems odd and somehow wasteful.
There have been vigorous debates in this state over the Constitution, over the amendment process. We have in every election amendments. I can't remember there not being amendments on the general election ballot, and it's just become common. Every election we have amendments to vote on, and I think that you're doing a good job of raising awareness, because a lot of people walk into the voting booth without having studied the amendments. And one reason why you have so many undervotes, a ballot with it hasn't been fully voted on, is because people don't know what these amendments say. It's easy not to take the time to read what these amendments are about. There's a lot of focus on other things on this year's ballot. But it's important, in my opinion, for people to know what they're voting on. And I think Coleman today is doing a good job of raising that awareness.
Well, I think it's important. I mean, if you go into a ballot box, there's nothing worse than going, "I've never heard that name. I don't know what that means." And, that's partly on the burden of proof on the voter. You got to research a little bit, so I'm trying to help out.
Absolutely.
Now, we're running a little bit long here, and I'm going to say this and don't expect you to have a response, but as I've gone through these amendments and done some research, I realized that the Alabama Constitution is the longest, has more words than any other governing document in the world, as best I can tell. And this seems like additional words on an already too long document. In my world, if I was in charge, I think I would just start over, simplify it down, and make it somewhat more manageable. That's my thoughts. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or not.
Well, we do have the longest state constitution in the country. There's no question about that. And it may get longer as further amendments pass.
All right, Champ. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.